Evening peeps, good evening everyone. All right, let's get straight into this video because it is pretty late and this might be a long video. It's just coming up to 11 o'clock. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. I think the last video we did was about the cancellation of the fight between DILLIAN White and OTTO Wallin. The reaction to that has been very strong, very, very strong. A lot of people have accused DILLIAN White of faking it because it is likely that he will fight Tyson Fury next. And a lot of people are like, you know, why roll the dice with OTTO Wallin when you can just fight Fury next? So a lot of people don't believe the shoulder injury. A lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people. In fact, I think if you polled 100 people, I think 80 would say that was bullshit. Honestly, I think that's how many people don't believe it. I don't know if you're waiting for me to say categorically yay or nay either way. I have no idea. I've always had said though, as soon as it was likely that he was going to fight Tyson Fury next, I was like, he's rolling the dice with OTTO Wallin. Like, OTTO Wallin can fight, and it's a bit of a risky fight. I mean, look, the word talks about Chris Arreola. I mean, okay, you know, do that, right? Because you'll comfortably beat Chris Arreola, although Chris Arreola's still got a little something left. But OTTO Wallin is risky, very risky. Hungry guy, waiting for the opportunity, can fight, can fight inside, can fight outside, got a good gas tank. That is a risky, risky fight. And yeah, so no DILLIAN White versus OTTO Wallin. At the time of recording that video, I didn't know whether or not DAZN and Matchroom were going to keep the card together or just cancel it completely. They are going to keep the card together. Obviously, you've got Chantel Cameron in a world title fight. Johnny Fisher has sold a lot of tickets. I think he said something like 1,200 tickets. Craig Richards is on the card as well. So there's some decent names on the card. It's a shame OTTO Wallin hasn't been given an opponent. I mean, I know it's late notice, but look, heavyweights don't need to make weight. It would have been nice for him to get a run out, an 8-rounder, a 10-rounder. There's been so many heavyweights fighting recently. Surely some heavyweight is in shape. Not the heavyweights that have fought, but the sparring for those heavyweights. Surely there's a sparring guy somewhere that's ranked in the top 30 that it could have been sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control for OTTO Wallin to have a fight. I do feel sorry for OTTO Wallin, who's gone for a training camp, which would have cost money. Hopefully he's been given some money for that, but the training camp would have cost money. It would have been good for us Brits to see him fight over here, and all of a sudden, nothing. And he's probably never going to fight DILLIAN White, or at least not for the foreseeable future. DILLIAN White will fight Tyson Fury. DILLIAN White's come out and done a lot of interviews and said that he wants the Tyson Fury fight now. The WBC haven't mandated him yet, but I'm pretty sure they will. So, I mean, I guess, look, for British fight fans, it isn't the worst thing in the world. It's disappointing because it would have been a good card with that as the main event. It's still a good card, but obviously it's not the same, is it? It's not the same without DILLIAN White versus OTTO Wallin. So yeah, disappointing. Disappointing for me as well, from my own professional point of view. There will be no DAZN boxing show on, you know, like we do the Thursday, Fridays, and then the Saturdays. There won't be for this fight card now. I think I'm still working on it for Matchroom, like doing some behind the scenes interviews, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Again, that might not go ahead now because obviously the fight card has somewhat been downsized by the removal of DILLIAN White. But yeah, disappointing to say the least that fight's not going ahead. I really wanted to see it, but again, if you're DILLIAN White, like, you know what it is? Fighters go into the ring all the time injured. Like, no fighter, like, don't believe when they say, oh, I'm 100%, I'm hitting all the targets. No. All fighters go into the ring with injuries and niggles. It just happens, right? The fight camps are brutal, especially for the fighters that have to make weight. Everything's just brutal. DILLIAN White, if there wasn't a Tyson Fury carrot dangled in front of him, I think he would have still had a fight with this shoulder surgery. I mean, this shoulder injury. But because the Tyson Fury fight's so close and it's there and it's in touching distance, and I'm guessing he knows a lot more than we do about how close it is, he's probably thinking, fuck it, I ain't doing that. Like, normally he would go in and do it. He's probably thinking, nope, ain't doing it. Ain't doing it. Because a lot of fighters have gone into the ring and have had shoulder issues. I mean, Vasyl Lomachenko in the fight against Teofimo Lopez, shoulder surgery straight after. DILLIAN White himself, before the fight with AJ, shoulder surgery straight after. What other ones have been recent? James DeGale, Chris Eubank Jr., shoulder surgery straight after. So it is a big problem. Let's quickly touch on the fight last night. You guys will be watching this Monday morning, so the fight 2 days ago. Shakur Stevenson dominating, Jamel Herring dominating, like making, that's a statement. Like, you think of a statement win, statement performance, dominating him, and in the end getting a stoppage in the 10th round. I mean, that's like Shakur Stevenson has arrived. Some might say he's already arrived. He was a world champion at 126 pounds. Yeah, but that was a vacant belt. Who was that against? Was that against Gonzalez again? It was a vacant belt. I don't think he really got the credit as much as he maybe should have. There was a lot of talk about him coming over here and fighting Josh Warrington. I don't know if you guys remember that. There was a lot of talk about that. That never happened. So he was always looking for that big name, that big win. And he gets it now against Jamel Herring. And I think the win even looks better because of the performance Jamel Herring put on against Carl Frampton when they fought in Dubai and he stopped Carl. So going in, I've always favoured Shakur Stevenson, but I thought Jamel Herring could ask him questions. He did ask him questions. Shakur Stevenson just had the answers to all those questions, answers to all of them. And right now, 130 pounds, you have to say he's the man to beat. I know Oscar Valdez is there, but Oscar Valdez, I thought, lost his fight against Robson Conceição last time out, and there's still that big asterisk and question mark now associated with Oscar Valdez because of the drug issue. He's the man at 130. There are other guys still there. Leo Santa Cruz might fight at 130. There are guys in and around it, but he's clearly special. Like, he's a special fighter. Like, I tweeted this morning, because I didn't watch it, I only watched it this morning, I didn't watch it live, and I said, I'm late to the party, but Shakur Stevenson is really good. No, really, really good. This is a guy, for me, he's already a 2-weight world champion. This is a guy for me that will win a world title at 135. I have no doubt about it. And if you look at him side by side with someone like a Terence Crawford, you think there's potential for him to go to 140. And I know I'm probably going too far now, but maybe even 147. He's got a frame for it. He really has. I mean, Jamel Herring is considered Jamel Herring's considered quite a big 130 guy. Like, his frame. Shakur Stevenson's as big. He's as thick, right? He's very thick set. And you can tell that body can carry, and he's still quite young relative, that body can carry a bit more muscle. I love him in that mix with the guys at 135. Like, we say 4 kings, we might now chuck in 5 kings. And I think the best thing about all these 5 kings, and there's more, isn't just the 5 kings, but the best thing about all of them is that they're under 26. All of them are under 26. I think Gervonta Davis, I think, the oldest, and Gervonta, I think, is 26 or 25. Let's have a look. 26. So he's the oldest. So, look, boxing's full of bullshit to the point where we might not get to see these guys all go at each other, but we are looking at a time where we could have 5. And, you know, there's others coming up. We could have 6 or 7 that could all go at each other, and all of these fights could be like, oh, I don't know who's going to win. All of them. Like, I'm not joking. Right now, I would be confident enough to put Shakur Stevenson in with any of those guys right now at 135. Like, Shakur, you know what? You've won it at 130. Go to 135 now and fight Teofimo. I would not be afraid of it because he's got a good boxing IQ. He's clearly got a bit of pop. Maybe not the same pop as a Gervonta clearly or a Teofimo, but he's got enough to make you know you've been hit. Great boxing IQ. Obviously, good camp. I like him. I'm not joking. I know I'm exaggerating a bit here because that's what you do, right? We have that microwave memory. You only remember what you did or what someone did recently, and maybe I'm forgetting what Gervonta and Teofimo can do. But looking at Shakur Stevenson, again, Jamel Herring, and people might say it was a done Carl Frampton, but he put a beating on Carl. And he just got a beating put on him. Like, it's a really, really good performance. This guy was talking the talk before the fight. I was like, okay, look, come on, you've been a bit lippy now. Man walked the walk. He walked the walk, and I'm not joking. I could see a future where this guy's at 147 in 2 years, 2-3 years. If he does have 3 fights a year, like, or 2 minimum, he'll go. These kids ain't waiting. They're jumping weight classes. He'll go. He'll start to fill out his frame, and he will chase the guys. And the guys could be the guys right now at 135. Because let's be honest, Teofimo and Devon, Gervonta's already had a fight at 140. Teofimo and Devon ain't staying at 135 for more than another year. In fact, like, I wouldn't be shocked if Teofimo has this fight against Kambosos coming up, then one more. Whether that one more be Devon in the spring, I don't know. But they're going. He will follow them. He will follow them. So, yeah, very exciting, really good performance. Punch perfect, IQ perfect. And I'll end on this one, didn't get out of second gear. I've seen some people say first gear. He certainly got out of first gear. Didn't get out of second. Didn't get out of second. Some might ask how many gears he's got. I'll say he's fucking got about 6. So I think there's way more to come. Way more. And that is super, super exciting for boxing. He wants Oscar Valdez. That's the name he wants. Why not? It's a unification fight. Let's do it. Let's do it. Both of them are with Top Rank. I mean, come on. How easy is that fight to make? Should be next. Let's see if Bob and both of these guys agree to do it. I don't think Oscar Valdez would want anything of Shakur Stevenson. I'm not saying he's ducking him, but I think if there was another option, he'll go for the other option. Trust me. All right, let's see what we've got. Terence Crawford, a dominating win over Sean Porter will boost status as pound for pound #1. No, it won't. It certainly won't. And I like Sean. Sean's a great fighter, but you boost your status as a pound for pound #1 by fighting another pound for pounder. That's how it works. You don't jump up the pound for pound rankings. Like if I was to do my pound for pound ranking, Sean Porter would probably be around 25, maybe. Yeah, I think that's fair. You don't boost your status by beating a guy not in the top 10. You don't do that at all, right? I mean, Canelo's clearly #1, and Canelo's fighting a guy that's unbeaten and is a champion in Caleb Plant, and that's going to be an undisputed unification scrap. That's how you boost your status. So as much as I love the fight and I can't wait for it, that's not going to be a status boosting fight. We are going to do a live watch along of that fight as well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a list of all the live watch alongs. Unfortunately, I'm not going to America for Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. America don't open its doors until November 8th. This fight obviously is November 6th. I think, going for Teofimo Lopez, Kambosos, God willing. But we're definitely going to do live watch-alongs of Crawford. We're going to do live watch-alongs of Canelo versus Caleb Plant as well. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Anthony Joshua has not split with Rob McCracken, says Eddie Hearn. Not split yet. Anthony Joshua clearly is not going to be with Ed. What? I don't know, but I don't expect him to be with Rob McCracken at his next fight. I doubt that. Unless he's shopping around, and if he doesn't find anything he likes, he sticks with Rob. Maybe that's possible, right? That's certainly possible. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. He's clearly gone to see other gyms now. I think there was a photo of him the other day with Robert Garcia. And I said that on the video I did when I was talking about AJ shopping around, that he's going to go and see more. He'll literally go out and see loads. It looks like Ronnie Shields is the favourite. But again, AJ's going to have conversations with the team and see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's a big ask for him. I think I said this, and I think even DILLIAN WHYTE said it to an extent in an interview he did with TalkSport. I don't think it's an ability thing with AJ. Like, him switching trainers isn't like, I don't know if you guys remember when Ricky Hatton switched to Floyd Mayweather Sr. And Floyd Mayweather Sr. was trying to make him do shoulder rolls and all that kind of bullshit. I'm like, you can't change a boxer that quick. So AJ switching to a Ronnie Shields or whoever, a Reynoso or whoever, Virgil Hunter, isn't about them trying to add something to his arsenal. It might be trying to, get him to throw his jab a bit more, but you're not going to get AJ to do something he's never done. This is about changing him mentally and allowing him to know that he's going to have to go to war and go toe-to-toe with Usyk sometimes. I think it's a mental thing. It's not an ability thing. AJ's a decent boxer, a very decent boxer, but I don't think you're going to be able to add too much to him in 5 or 6 months. I don't. Talking of that, they're saying here that AJ Usyk rematch slated for March in the UK. In the UK. It's going to be interesting then where that happens. It's likely to be back at that Tottenham stadium. I mean, that stadium is perfect. I will say this though, for transport links, it's awful. It's awful. For transport links, the best stadium probably is, might sound a bit stupid, it's probably West Ham Stadium, a point, because it literally is just a couple of minutes over. That's perfect. And it would actually, it's not as good looking a stadium as Tottenham Stadium, but I mean, we all saw it in the Olympics and it looked beautiful. And it was built for the Olympics, so it's obviously clearly a good stadium. And there are so many transport links around that. And another thing as well, so many bars and restaurants, so that would be a good stadium. I mean, there are so many options, but it's probably going to be Tottenham's or Wembley. But it's good to know that's going to be in the UK. I think that's good for fight fans. I do wonder if if Jamel Herring will continue to fight, by the way. I'm not quite sure. You wonder. He got a career high payday of $1.5 million, which is nice. I mean, he must have got, when you think about his last 2 fights, Carl Frampton and this, probably more financially than he's 10 before. So well done to him, man. Well done to him. Robert Helenius hopes to get mandatory crack at Usyk Joshua winner. I mean, I hope he doesn't sit and wait for that, by the way, because I think he's sort of riding a wave now. I mean, he's got 2 great wins over Adam Kalnacki. I mean, do something with that. If I was him, I would call out Deontay Wilder. If I was him, I'd call out Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's going to have surgery and he's going to be back in the spring. Call Deontay Wilder out. Call Frank Sanchez out. Maybe not Frank Sanchez because there's not that much money in that fight, but call Andy Ruiz out. Andy Ruiz was definitely going to fight Kalnacki if Kalnacki beat Helenius. Call Andy Ruiz out. Those are the 2 names I would go for whilst you're waiting for the Usyk Joshua thing to play out. But don't sit on that win. Take it and run with it, man. Run with it. Let's see what else we've got. 2 seconds. By the way, this Rolly Romero, Gervonta Davis build up, I'm liking that someone isn't afraid of Gervonta and they're going at him. I mean, look, he might get knocked out, but let's give Rolly Romero credit. I think he's like 14 fights, 12 knockouts or something. Let's have a quick look. That was just a big guess. I'm probably way wrong with that. And I'm not wrong. 14 fights, 12 knockouts. He's going to go for it, isn't he? I mean, I like the spice of it, and that fight should be fun. I mean, they were going at it at the press conference. Don't mind it. Some people seem to not like it. I don't know why. It's a little... Look, well, actually, I know why, because he's not one of the 5 kings or the 4 kings, whatever. So you want Gervonta to fight one of those guys. Until Gervonta does, I don't mind him picking off guys like this. I think Rolly Romero is very, very decent. Very, very decent. And it won't be easy for Gervonta. Gervonta will get to him because he fucking just gets you, doesn't he? But it won't be easy. Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz on track for December in Las Vegas, says Eddie Hearn. This is interesting because Devin Haney actually tweeted something the other day saying Jojo Diaz is trying to get out of the fight. I was waiting to see if Jojo Diaz was going to respond and bite. I don't think he has, which doesn't look good. But let's just hope that this one can get over the line because it's a good fight. Really is a good fight. What else have we got here? A bit here about DILLIAN White and OTTO Wallin wanting proof of the shoulder injury. You're not going to get proof, bruv. Eddie Hearn just needs to get him a fight. There's not that many heavyweights that I think Eddie could put him in with, because I'm not like, I'm trying to think who could he risk him with. They could maybe work out a deal with Hrgovic potentially. Like he's too good for the likes of Fabio Wardley. You know, it would have been a real good fight for him, but obviously Eddie isn't working with him anymore. Michael Hunter, that would have been a good fight for OTTO Wallin, but we'll see. We'll see. Mikey Garcia, it says here, will continue to fight 140 pounds after that loss to Sandor Martin. Some people are saying, fuck it, just make the Prograis fight. But I don't think so. I think you've got to get back. I think he's got to have that rematch with Sandor Martin as quick as possible. Roll the dice. I think, look, the best Mikey Garcia, I don't know what's left of him, will beat Sandor Martin. Even a 60% of Mikey should beat him. I think we maybe saw 30 or 40 Mikey. I think a Mikey that maybe doesn't underestimate and a Mikey that wasn't 20 months out of the ring will beat Sandor Martin. So I think they should try and get it on again, and then he can fight Regis Prograis, because I think he will get past him. 2 secs. Anything else? Okay, a bit here that Caroline Dubois will be trained and managed by Shane McGuigan. Okay. Just seeing if there's anything else. Oh, I saw this. Adrien Broner sent to jail over probation violation. It's just done, innit? It really is. It's so disappointing, man. It's so disappointing to see a talent like that. Not just a talent in terms of boxing ability, but just in terms of talent and knowing how to sell the fight. I mean, this guy had the world at his feet. I legitimately remember 6 or 7 years ago, maybe where people were saying that Broner could have beaten Floyd. And Broner was even saying stupid things like, I don't want to give my big brother his first L and all that kind of stuff. And people are like, you know what, Broner's a problem. Then that Maidana defeat came, and it has been downhill ever since then. It's been downhill ever since. And then we have all these issues. I remember the time when his car got shot up. I think there's been several times his car's been shot up. How many times now has he even been to jail? I don't know, man. He needs serious help. I don't know who his mentors are or whatever, but he needs serious help. Just double checking how old he is. 32 now. Man, let me have a quick look at his record. I'm trying to wonder when that time was. And everyone's like, you know, this guy's a problem. It was maybe after the Gavin Rees win, 2013. I think it was then. In fact, the Marcus Maidana wasn't the first problem. The first problem was Paulie Malignaggi, which went to a split decision. That's when everyone was like, maybe this guy ain't that great. And since then, it's just been shit, if I'm honest with you. Just shit. I don't know. It looked like he was back when he fought that Jovan Santiago. Everyone was like, okay, he's back, he's serious. And now he's had this issue. I will end on this. We'll end on this one. And this is about Josh Taylor. And his title defense against Jack Catterall being pushed back. Remember, it was supposed to happen in December. It's now been pushed back to February, which is uber disappointing, if I'm honest with you. They're saying that it's a knee injury, which I guess is better. At least it's not fucking anything to do with like what Errol Spence had, right? Where you have an eye issues, but it's still disappointing for fans. Everyone's looking forward to it. This is boxing. This is boxing, unfortunately. These guys, they push their bodies to the limit and these things happen. And I think if you're a Josh Taylor, it's not a case of, like, if you're Josh Taylor, you're the man in the division, right? You've got all the belts. If it was a Jack Catterall who got the knee problem, he might try and fight through it, you know, because it's the opportunity. But if you're Josh, you're thinking, nah, I want to be 100%. I'm not taking any risk. I want to be 100%. And unfortunately, the fight's been pushed back to February 26th. But, you know, we've got such a good November and December. I'm not as upset as I normally would be, because we have got so many good fights coming up, so much boxing coming up as well. So, yeah, not the biggest disappointment in the world, if I'm honest with you. But, yeah, disappointing regardless. All right, guys, that's it. We are done. Everyone have a good week. We're going to do a few more videos in the week anyway. Peace.